Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the B4X DaisyInput component for B4, and we're going to see how it absolutely transforms UI design. If you build cross-platform mobile apps, you know the absolute struggle of creating beautiful, consistent, and highly functional input fields. Well, get ready because we're about to explore a visual showcase of a tool that basically does it all for you.
Let's kick things off with a question that hits right at a very common developer pain point. Seriously, how much time do you actually spend styling basic text inputs? Think about it. Constantly reinventing the wheel to style native Android edit text views, tweaking borders, calculating background opacities, and fighting with padding. It's exhausting, and it steals precious hours away from actually building your app's core features. Enter the B4X DaisyInput class. You can think of this as your new UI Swiss Army knife. It handles everything from your basic text entry all the way up to complex UI patterns with icons and stylized backgrounds. It's essentially designed to replace dozens of scattered styling scripts and give you one incredibly flexible component.
So, what exactly is it? Well, B4X DaisyInput is a custom B4X class that applies a DaisyUI-inspired design system directly to your native input fields using simple designer properties. By mapping raw code parameters, things like spacing units, color tokens, and elevation shadows, straight to visual outputs, this component brings that clean, modern DaisyUI design methodology right to your apps. You literally get CSS-like utility control directly inside your visual designer. Section 1. Styling. Colors and sizes.
Let's talk about the ghost style input. Setting the variant property to ghost intelligently modifies the background and border opacity to create this beautifully subtle, transparent look. The border practically disappears until the user actually focuses on it. It's absolutely perfect for clean, modern, minimalist interfaces where you really just don't want heavy boxes cluttering up the screen. Now, what makes this incredibly powerful is how these variant properties map directly to your backend validation logic to trigger highly visible success, warning, or error states. Say an input fails a custom regex pattern or doesn't meet a minimum length requirement, the class instantly updates the visual state. It'll turn the border a bright, undeniable red for an error or a crisp green for a valid success state. When you put them side by side, the contrast is undeniable, isn't it? The quiet, neutral input sits perfectly next to the brightly colored, attention-grabbing error and warning inputs. And the best part? You don't have to write complex drawing routines or manage separate image backgrounds for all of these states. You literally just pick the color variant and the class dynamically handles blending the border colors and updating the UI instantly. Moving past color, let's talk about scaling. Simply changing the designer property for size to MD, LG, or XL automatically scales both the input height and the font size without any manual tweaking. The class calculates everything for you. It ensures that whether you need a compact form or massive, extra-large tap targets for accessibility, the proportions of your text and padding remain absolutely flawless.
Section 2. Adding icons and adornments. Say you want to add a search magnifying glass or a file folder icon. That is driven entirely by specifying SVG asset file names in the icon left and icon right properties. The component natively reads the SVG, calculates the perfect padding, colors it to match your text variant, and injects it right into the field. It makes building a stylized search bar unbelievably fast. But here is the crucial point. You aren't limited to just images. You can use the label left and label right properties to embed structural text directly inside the input, like an HTTP prefix or a .com suffix. This is such an incredible UI pattern because it guides the user visually, and it guarantees that the data they enter is structurally formatted correctly right from the very first keystroke.
Section 3. Floating labels and hint text.
When you toggle the floating label property to true, the main label dynamically floats up from the placeholder position to rest right on the top border. Meanwhile, the hint text property cleanly provides helper text right below the input line. It's a highly sophisticated animation that keeps your interface compact while constantly maintaining context, so the user never forgets what field they are currently filling out.
Section 4. Interactive toggles and multi-line.
Okay, the input type property is incredibly powerful. It dynamically configures the native Android edits text keyboard to perfectly match whatever specific data format you need from the user. Need an email? It turns off those annoying auto-suggest spell checkers and adds the @ symbol to the keyboard. Need a phone number? It instantly switches to the hardware dialer pad. This removes so much manual configuration on your end. The visual result of this is clean, dedicated spaces for ages, phone numbers, and clickable email icons. By changing a single dropdown in the Visual Designer, you are literally restricting user errors at the hardware keyboard level, which drastically improves the quality of the data your app takes in.
Let's peek under the hood for a second to appreciate the automation happening here. This is the exact four-step code logic executing in the class background when a user interacts with a secure password field. First, the user clicks the right icon. Second, it toggles the internal password visibility Boolean state. Third, it swaps the SVG asset from a /I to a solid I. And fourth, it updates the native edit text input type to reveal the hidden text.
And this, right here, is the flawless visual execution of that logic, providing a seamless tap-to-reveal experience using the built-in eye icon toggle. You don't have to code separate image views, you don't have to manage bitwise input flags, or right-click event listeners. The B4X DaisyInput component does every single bit of that heavy lifting entirely internally. Finally, by simply adjusting the max lines and min lines integer properties, this single-line tool instantly transforms into a spacious, fully functional multi-line text area for longer messages. It smartly adjusts its internal text alignment so the text starts at the top left naturally, providing the perfect responsive text box for comments, bios, or descriptions. It's truly amazing how much styling time you can save when you have the right multi-tool integrated directly into your workflow. If one simple B4X component can handle everything from dynamic floating labels and regex validation states to secure password toggles all out of the box, the biggest question left is, what complex screen are you going to simplify with it next? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy building!